So you go to school to watch stuff that's available on broadcast television?
It was actually, we had some free
Lovely.
science, so
Okay,
Lorraine just
okay,
threw it on.
okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my. Do you have any, not necessarily difficulties, but how do you find, oh, how do I word this properly? I'll just go with difficulties because I can't think of a better way to say it. But do you have any difficulties between balancing commercial projects and your own personal projects?
No. They actually sort of inform each other. I mean, I do a lot of commercial work that's just really boring, and it's done for ad agencies, and there's a specific strategy I have to employ going in. So I employ it and send them an invoice and cash a really big check, and then take that money and go buy film and hire an assistant to go out and shoot crack addicts. But there's also, I shoot a lot for magazines, and the people that hire me for magazines hire me, mostly they look at my personal work and they say, yeah, we want, like, you do it like this or like that. And so, I mean, probably half the jobs I do are just, I have total freedom. And except maybe they'll say it has to be horizontal or it has to be vertical because they have a certain hole in their page that they have to fill. But I find it, the great thing about being a commercial photographer is you can make a lot of money really fast, and then there's sort of down times where you can take your own time to go and do your own thing and use that money to pay a mortgage and buy a car and take more pictures for yourself. So yeah, I find they actually feed into each other. And I mean, there's lots of, I mean, as a commercial photographer, there's lots of jobs where I go, oh fuck, not this again. But I take a breath and I go, Tony, it beats working in a cubicle, and I just go and do it, and I only have to do it for a day or 2 days or half a day, and then it's over. And like I say, I write an invoice and get paid.
What do you think about those people who are sort of straight, you need to do your own work and no commercial, those people who have that sort of prejudice against working both sides of the field?
Who are those people?
To be honest, I can't give you a name, but I know historically there's a big debate between, who was it? It was Stieglitz and some other name that sounded like Stieglitz, and just some people believe you should only make art for art's sake. And
Yeah. Yeah, I actually think that a lot of art for art's sake is just like a circle jerk. It's just like some dickweed masturbating, and I find a lot of it really fucking boring. I was walking down Cooper Street last summer, and there was a guy walking towards me, had a T-shirt on that said, "Most art is boring," and I thought, wow, that's a great T-shirt. Conversely, you look at the work of Terry Richardson or David LaChapelle or Irving Penn or Richard Avedon, people that were working commercially. And that work, to me, a lot of commercial work is way more interesting than work being produced because a person feels they have to be an artist. I don't think there has to be a gulf between work done for money. I mean, look at the Sistine Chapel. That was done. He painted it for money. A lot of those Renaissance guys, the painters, they painted those things that are now in museums because they had rent to pay and someone hired them to paint. So to me, what I do is I always say the proof of the pudding is in the tasting. I don't actually meet that many photographers, but I know there's people out there who call themselves artists, but they never do a fucking thing. They just like to think that, oh, if I did do art, I'd be great. So, and I have no respect for that. What I have respect for is action, and specifically direct action. I don't care what you do, but if you do it consistently and you practice at it and you try to move that practice forward, then I respect you. But if you just talk the talk but don't walk the walk, then I sneer. So to me, I'm not saying all commercial work is great, just like all art done for art's sake isn't great. But to me, I don't think there needs to be a gulf there.
Cool. That's nice to hear.
It is refreshing after
some of the stuff we're told in class.
You're told, yeah. Oh, what are you told?
Well, just, I don't know. I did a critique last term, and we were supposed to pick an artist and sort of emulate them, not necessarily copy them, but just sort of be inspired by them. And I actually would pick Richard Avedon.
Uh-huh.
And somebody was like, "Oh, well, those look commercial." And I just remember sitting there and being like, well, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's
like,
sort of said with that.
yeah.
Stigmatism.
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it is that's just, I think it's insecurity, and I think it's a lot of times pretension. When people have to, it has to be this rarefied thing, and like I don't mind looking at Jeff Wall's stuff and so on and so forth, but I think I'd rather look at Terry Richardson, in terms of what's vital and what's I think really, well, Jeff Wall's pretty modern, but I mean Terry Richardson. It's crazy. I guess like a whole bunch of beautiful people drunk and shoots it with a point and shoot. And I mean, he's got this aesthetic that that people look at it and go, I could do that. And I know all kinds of people that were inspired by him tried to do it and they just look like shit. He's the only guy that can do it. It's sort of weird. And even though it looks easy, it's really, really difficult. That's, I think, was one of the things about photography, especially with digital cameras, is it appears to be easy, but actually taking consistently interesting or good pictures that define your intelligence is really, really difficult. It takes a lot of practice and blood and guts and emotion and money to get to a position where you can do that fairly consistently.